Ever wonder what it's like to buy a car from the auctions for way too much and then pile more money into it? No? Well anyways, this is my car that I paid way too much for from the salvage auctions, and as you can see, it's I bought this 1998 VT Commodore a couple of weeks ago thinking I got a great deal. It only looked like it needed a few body panels and a couple of suspension components, but I was very wrong. The more I took this car apart, the more I realized why it ended up at the salvage auctions in the first place. I fell for the auction phenomenon where you think you got a great ride, but in actual fact, you were the only thing that got taken for a ride. But nevertheless, I'm not giving up on this thing. I'm attempting to restore this VT back to its former glory, but as you can see, I have a lot of work to do, so let's get on to it. As you can see, the VT is up in the air, which means it's time to get chopping. I've got my mate here, Shane. This is the mastermind I've been telling you guys about in the last video. Shane is all self-taught, and when I looked at the job that he did on Lachlan's Skyline, his R32, I'm like, I want that. Whatever that is, I want it. Even if it's half as good on this thing. So thank you very much, Shane.
No dramas.
Really appreciate it. I'm going to stay out of his way. I'm just going to be doing my own thing. I'm going to be taking the front bar off, the fender off, the liner out, because we want to be able to sort of
mimic one side compared to the other.
Yeah.
It sort of gives me a lot of measurements, and you can see what you're working with a little bit better.
Yeah. His brain works a little bit better than mine, as you can probably tell. So let's get going. So Shane's plan of attack for this thing is to basically get rid of every single bit of metal that is damaged on this thing. So this whole cap here is coming off. There's heaps and heaps of spot welds. Then once this is all freed up, he's then able to put a brand new second-hand one on and then mock up where everything needs to be. That's how I understood it in my brain. So I'm just gonna let him do his thing, and I'm gonna banish myself to this side and start taking that apart. Before we continue working on the VT, getting it all fixed up, my friends over at Carly have sent over their universal scanner for me to try out, and I've got just the car for it. This is my friend's brand new second-hand BMW 325i, which he bought very cheap, and cheap means problems. But luckily, we have the Carly universal scanner to help us out with the Christmas tree that is going on this car's dash. So let's go see if this can help us out. So one of the best things about the Carly is the fact that it is very small, so it can fit in your pocket, in your car. You can carry it wherever you go. And if you own a car like this, it's pretty important because you're going to be clearing engine lights on the daily. It works both with Android and iOS, a clean, modern app interface as well, which is super easy to use. And one of the best things about the Carly is that if you own a BMW like this, you can actually do custom coding, which we're gonna try out right now. But before I decided to try out any coding, I needed the Carly to tell me what kind of DTCs were logged on this BMW's ECU. So since this is a BMW, it has a lot of control units that the Carly has to go over and read through. So it does take a couple of minutes, but it tells you absolutely everything. All right, let's show results. We have an issue with the footwell module, whatever that is, the iDrive, park distance control, which are the parking sensors. Now, if you're not super clued in with what all those fault codes mean, Carly's Smart Mechanic feature explains each code in plain English, meaning you don't need to take your car to the mechanic to get it diagnosed, and that saves you money. Well, now that we've established that this thing is a piece of crap, let's go into coding and see what we can code into this car. I'm pretty sure there's a few things you can do with the cluster, so let's check that out. The combi, the dashboard, instrument cluster, let's see. Digital speedometer. Of course we want the digital speedometer. Code now. Look at that. We have digital speed now. So as you can see, the Carly can do quite a lot. You saw me clear DTCs, code custom stuff into the car, and it can do a whole lot more. So if you want to pick yourself up one of these Carly scanners, click the link in the description below. Use the code PACAN for a discount. Thank you very much to Carly for sponsoring today's video. Anyways, back to the content. So whilst Shane started drilling out all the spot welds, taking off all the damaged panels, he gave me the task of removing the front bar, the fender, the guard liner, to basically reveal the other side so we'll be able to tell what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, just remove the pieces. To get to those, I had to cut that off to expose it. Everything's bent up. From there, we'll replace that section. Now we're only talking about 3 separate little skins. A lot easier to work with. So we'll get that all straight. I'll remove that skin as well, and pretty easy from there.
Beautiful. Shane was telling me earlier about how it's going to look a whole lot worse before it gets better. But in my opinion, it looks better now. There's less bent shit on it.
Well, yeah, you can look at it that way.
Yeah. Like, it's so fascinating, like watching bodywork because I'm very familiar with mechanical stuff, but
Well together Lego.
yeah, literally. Like it's so weird how it's just literally just spot welds and then it all just peels off. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. And I'm also liking the fact that I'm not doing this by myself because I would have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. See, Shane and I both understand that this is just a shit VT at the end of the day, but the whole process is just so fascinating. It applies to every single car. And what better car to learn on than something like this? And at the end of the day, it's gonna be mint. Like, it's gonna be really good.
That's it, man. Best thing to learn on.
The skyline that I was talking about earlier in the video, basically, you can't really see, but the whole entire floor was chopped out of this thing and straightened out and re-welded. When this thing was bought at auction a few years ago, there were talon marks in the floor from where the forks would where they poke through the frame rails and stuff. So Shane basically cut the entire floor out, cut the caps out that sit in here, hand panel beaded it, welded it back together. When this thing was on the hoist, I had a look and I was astounded. I don't understand how people do stuff like that, but I'm so glad that Shane is working his magic on the VT. So now that the guard, the bumper and the fender liner were all out, Shane was able to properly reference off the driver's side to see what the passenger side where the damage was supposed to look like. Later on, Shane would need to measure up an undamaged VT to make sure the strut towers are all aligned and basically make sure that at the end of the day, what he was doing was going to end up square. So a bit of an update on what's going on. Shane has basically gone through most of the spot welds, would you say?
Yep. Most of them, just a few more under there and just there to release.
Yeah. The goal for tonight is to take this cap off because what Shane was explaining is that the more you take off, the easier it is to panel beat. Is that right?
Pretty much, that's it.
This bit is basically off. So it's all just going along here, drilling all that out. All of this is basically done and you're just chiseling.
That's it, relieve the tension, and once you relieve the tension, then everything will relax and be able to
falls into place.
Pretty much, panel beat straight. Okay, that's go off now.
Almost there, 6 spot welds to go. So close. At this point, I was getting a little nervous because although Shane could basically fix anything, it was more of the question of how far we'd go fixing this VT, and I was really hoping that we wouldn't find more unexpected damage behind that rail cap.
There you go, one skin. Kind of beat that up, but see what we're working with now. Yep.
So what's the plan of attack now?
So now that everything's single layer, that's actually the inside of the car now. So now I can actually start pressing that across, panel beating this up to where it needs to. Now that this here, I'll actually split the spot welds along that seam too, because then it's just single layer, which I can then panel beat all that section out, then bring the actual wheel well itself, or floor well, whatever you want to call it, back out to suit. Probably going to remove that panel there first, because that's a thicker, more structural zone, and then from there, and we're good. Sweet. So Shane has now left us for the day. He's got other cars to build, not just his VT, but it is time to address one of the other bigger issues on this car, other than the obvious body damage. Over here, we have an engine brace. It's missing the hooks, so I've come up with ratchet straps. And what we need to do is we need to pull the subframe and the steering rack out of this car because they're very broken, and I'm about to show you guys. And when you remove the subframe out of a car, obviously there is nothing supporting the engine, because in a car like this, the engine mounts bolt to the subframe. So let's send this thing up in the air and I'll show you guys what's going on. All right, so this is what is going on with the subframe. So you'll see that the bolt has ripped out of the subframe. Can you see that? So under here, you'll be able to see that the bolt has physically ripped out of the subframe. So this subframe is completely useless, as well as the control arm that got sent back this way to actually tweak the whole subframe. And also the steering rack is about to snap off as well. So this whole subframe is a write-off. It needs to come off. The steering rack needs to be replaced because the rack end snapped out of the steering rack. You can just replace this bit, but I don't trust any of these components that were on the side of the accident. So it's easier just to replace it all. Luckily, this is a VT at the end of the day, so it's very cheap to replace all these parts. Let's get cracking.
Removing subframes is a fairly simple job, but with every new car you work on, you do tend to miss a few things. But basically you have to remove anything holding the subframe to the body and the suspension components, like engine mounts, control arms, and sway bars. All right, everything is disconnected from the subframe, so the last thing to do is loosen the subframe bolts. The engine mount bolts are out. I've disconnected the lower control arm and the sway bar from the strut, so theoretically, it should come out now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stand here, Rex is gonna loosen it, and because most of the weight is at the back of the subframe, it should hopefully not tip. And once all those are removed, you are then able to basically drop the subframe. And with the help of my engine brace, it made sure that the engine didn't fall on top of me. And before Shane came back to do more bodywork, I had to go and forage for some replacement parts. This is the Nathan Pagan curse. I'm on my way to the wreckers to grab a few things. Every time I go to the auctions or I go to the wreckers, it's windy and it's raining. And that's exactly what it is right now. But anyway, we will grab as much stuff as we can. We need a front bumper, a passenger side guard, door, and a subframe, and a headlight, and a couple more things that I can't remember at the moment. Hopefully the weather clears up by the time I get to the wreckers. Going to Harvey Wreckers today. In the AU, of course. Trust getting parts for a Commodore and going to the wreckers in a Falcon. But anyway, we are about a minute away, so I'll see you guys inside. This is the first time I've ever come to the wreckers looking for Commodore parts. It feels weird. It's always been Fords. Come here for a Lancer as well when I had my CE, but never for a Commodore. So I'm looking for a specific Bermuda Blue VT Executive, and hopefully it's all good. This is the only VT that's Bermuda Blue that's in decent condition in the whole of Victoria that's at the wreckers. So hopefully it hasn't been absolutely ran through by everyone else. Just bumped into one of you guys. Trent, shout out to you. Thanks for coming up and saying hello. But this is the VT in question. As you can see, it's, you know, basically every single part apart from the door and the subframe has been taken off. So the guard's gone, the bar's gone, but this door looks like it's in pretty good nick. It's also Bermuda Blue. Unfortunately, I can't take this off myself. It's way too heavy, and also I don't want to risk damaging this door because these pins are a bit of a nightmare to take out. Shane does have the special tool, but unfortunately he can't make it with me today, so I'll probably just have to come back another day and grab it. But a bit of an oversight on my part. I need to take the subframe out. As you can see, the motor is still here, so not very ideal. Let's see if I can figure something out. So the way they set cars up here at Harvey's is they literally put the stand contraption on the actual subframe itself. So I think I might leave it for the meantime. But I did grab a passenger side fender liner, and my one was obviously very destroyed. So there you go. I'll take that. Thank you very much. I'm actually going to go to Jolly's now, because apparently they literally put a Bermuda Blue VT in stock last night. So I'm gonna go there and see if I can grab the guard off it. And then when I have a friend to come with me, I'll grab the door and I'll grab the subframe. Let's go to Jolly's. Currently driving on the Eastlink from Harvey's to Jolly's. Last time I was on the Eastlink in the AU blew a heater hose and it left me stranded, and I had to get my mate Peter to tow me back. And the reason I was on the Eastlink last time is because I actually bought another car. Yes. There is another car that came up for sale, and I could not resist not buying it, and all will be revealed soon once the Commodore is more finished. So for everyone asking where the EF is, the EF is basically done. It needs wiring and it needs the bonnet, the guard, and the bumper put back on. That's it. At the moment, my mate Ollie, who is also my auto electrician, he is finishing his uni finals, his uni exams. After the 14th of November, he's gonna go full steam ahead remaking the wiring loom for the EF. So everyone asking me, Nathan, where is the EF? Oh, Nathan, finish one car before you start another one. Oh, is this car gonna not be finished like the other one? It's all very funny, I get it. There's nothing I can do about it. Ollie He's the wiring guru. He is getting onto the wiring. So as soon as that's done, the AF will return back to the channel. Don't you guys worry. All right, we're at Jolly's right now. Pretty good condition Bermuda Blue VT. I'm gonna take the guard off it because I found someone on Marketplace that has an even better condition VT. So I'm gonna take the rest of the parts off that. That means I don't have to roll on the ground, taking the subframe out here. So gonna take the guard off. Might take the headlight too. It looks like it's in pretty good nick as well. Let's get started. Now that we are back from the wreckers, I can't actually bolt any of the stuff that I got from the wreckers on the car because Shane still needs to come back and finish up this side. But what we can do is attack the sump gasket because it looks like it's leaking a little bit. And anyway, it's a bit of preventative maintenance, which you have to drop the subframe for to do. So I figured while it's out, I may as well do it. So I'm gonna take the sump gasket off, and then hopefully next week, I'm gonna pick up the rest of the parts for this car, and it should be done next week, I'm hoping. Let's get onto that, and then we'll see what else we can do. Taking the sump off an Ecotec is fairly simple. You have to remove the starter motor, remove the standoffs that attach to the sump for the bell housing to bolt onto, as well as undo a few bolts holding some wiring in place. But once that's all off, it's just a matter of undoing a million 10mm bolts and the sump can come off. That is the easiest starter I've ever done. So in the accident, another thing got damaged, and that is the engine mount. And as you can see, that is supposed to be straight, and it is anything but straight. So while I'm here, not only am I replacing the sump gasket, but I'll also do the engine mount, and I believe that's, as far as I know, that's about it. So I'm gonna continue taking everything off. There's just a couple of little brackets I have to take off the front. We should be ready to take the sump off.
Wow, cars! Whoa! VT Commodore!
Grab myself a brand new sump gasket right here. I like these a lot better than the Intec ones because it's metal and it's rubber too. There are a couple of spots you have to put RTV where the front cover sits and also where the rear main plate sits as well. So I'm gonna do that. I've just cleaned up the sump, and I've also cleaned up the block, and this is, I've never seen inside an Ecotec before, but I can imagine that this is a very, very clean Ecotec. It definitely does show that it's very low kilometers, 130,000. So that's very nice to see that it's been looked after. I'm gonna chuck that gasket onto the sump, put a little bit of RTV on it so it doesn't fall off when I try to put it on, and then I'm gonna put it in the car. I applied a little bit of RTV onto the surface of the sump so that when I lifted it into the car, it wouldn't move around. Holden made it really simple changing the gasket on these things. There's really not much to it, and luckily the whole job was done in about 30 minutes. And yes, before you guys scream at me in the comments, I did clean the sump as much as I could. So the Commodore in its current state is basically as torn apart as you can possibly get a Commodore to be torn apart. The subframe is out, every single suspension component is out of the car as well. In the next video, I'm hoping that the car will be completely finished. All the body panels will be on, the new subframe will be in, steering rack, everything. In the next video, realistically, we could possibly be driving it. There are still a few things I need to sort out, like the flashing lights for the airbag going off, but I'm gonna get all the new parts next week and it should be good to go. Thank you guys very much for watching today's video. Check out the description if you want to cop yourself a Kali Universal Scanner, and I'll see you guys in the next Commodore video. Take it easy.